Boy, it was about 9 o'clock at least before we were getting up every morning.
Good for him.
Well, I got up a little earlier than that, but
Jamie ain't here today,
Come on, Lynn, come on.
but you represent. We ain't a department head. No, you're supervisor. That's right. We ain't a department head. In case you got something to say.
Okay.
you lying, get up here.
We take the boys and all, are we? He's the all for that.
He can sit by the
That's
back
the
door.
whole reason I need to sit closer over here.
Yes, ma'am. We need that.
Didn't you bring them to attention the other day?
When you walk through, that's right, yes, ma'am.
Paranoid?
We may need some.
Counselor.
I wonder why you didn't say.
I don't have none of that at the house. I don't have no rights.
I looked through them.
I'm old school. See, there's.
One time it was free and.
It would have been one of the last ones.
Yeah, I don't.
This was.
If I get to the point where I can't turn stuff on.
Laura. She was just. She was like.
But every time some kind of weird sound happens, like going on.
She was making sure that I had gotten what she had sent me. She had sent me some stuff through the mail. I had responded, so she was making sure. She sent me one saying she was going to send it. She sent it to the city, and I got it, and she was just throwing up all of it.
I'll look again.
Started the recording, don't say anything bad.
You started it what?
Started the recording, so don't say anything bad.
What you started early?
So I'm gonna go back over there and hit button.
That's cheap.
Well, we got a quorum.
That's 3 to vote anyway, Kenny.
Huh?
Take any action anyway, Kenny.
That's it.
It's not awesome.
We're interning
I don't even know what.
ATM for that. She probably waited in place a red line. As your buddy is. Bars and all that.
Yeah.
Well, where do you get when you go in with them?
Yeah, so there's some kind of
I
accident
get
over
by
there
the
today.
man with the biggest
Like
gun.
4 or 5 cars involved in the traffic vendor, center. So when did they? Yeah. Power back on. On a few days. If someone's red line. That's crazy. I think people say it's such things after it's.
Jenny Taylor car.
After they're doing inspections. You know, the normal. It's wrinkle circumstance, they do it the same
On
day.
the plantation, wasn't
The next day. but during
it? Yeah,
the
well,
summer,
plantations actually.
have repairs made. It's half and half, isn't it? It's terrible.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the road is theirs, but.
I got power.
Yeah, the county, it's like action, they got jurisdiction there.
They got.
Yeah, but I know we've got. I mean, there's on different sides, Andrews are. City line.
They did the main line. Mine's laying on the ground.
Went for the line house.
They said they wouldn't. They got all the line. I'm like, why you gotta do all the line?
That's crazy. While they're there.
I had one. House.
Sure.
Hello.
Did Benita say she was gonna, oh yeah, she did say she's gonna come in.
I'll give a few more minutes.
She did RSV.
Got so happened all over there. They said they had to ditch out or they don't move. Planes can get there. I don't understand what's out there going.
There's gonna be a few. They were gonna have one at the barbecue fest. I seen this part of
They got called all night last night about
the job fair.
trying to rent cars, find a way to get around.
Yeah.
Department of Commerce.
Unless it takes you out.
Last night.
And all other duties needed. I seen- Yeah, I watched people that
Yeah.
But
They're
they
gonna
even
be
pay
out there.
it.
I'm going to give Ms. Woodbury a few more minutes to get here. We'll start the meeting.
can text her.
Yes.
And that was fast.
We're trying to use the airport. Yeah, FEMA trailers, everybody's making some families. Actually, y'all come. Where? Pretty big. Y'all look at that. John, then.
I think we fix that on Tuesday.
Wish I could take.
Tuesday we fix that.
Oh, yeah, the agreement's been signed, the guy, they were supposed to start possibly yesterday, if not, hopefully today.
Here she is. Thank you.
What's that?
I've been texting him,
For what?
the debris pickup. In the city limits, in the city limits, but they were supposed to start on plantation, Johnson, Strickland and Ash, because those were county roads, they were gonna start on those.
In, I'm not on the north.
There's specifications, those were.
It's like a one line.
Oh, we'll start by prayer. And Ms. Woodbury, right? Father, by the prayer of allegiance.
Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you with humble hearts and most humble hands, Lord Jesus. To tell you thank you this morning, Lord. Thank you, Lord, for waking each and every one of us, Lord, and surrounding each and every one of our families, Lord, as they come in and as they travel these highways and they travel these byways, oh Lord. Lord, I ask you right now, Lord, to decrease each and every one of us in here today, that we do the business of the city, oh Lord Jesus. And these blessings that we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilmember Bryant,
Here.
Councilmember Landry. Here. Councilmember Whitfall,
Here.
Vice Mayor Ketchum.
Here.
Mayor Hammond.
Here. Well, I don't have anything to please, but we are all here because of the closing of GP Mills. I will discuss if there's anything that we can do to assist our neighbors. They are our most special asset. That being said, John.
So bring that back to our budget. $500,000. Wastewater and gas. I forget what we're gonna do about that. Before we approve the budget on Tuesday.
Only two things, candidates, one free expenses. The flood of reserves, we can go up on rates, going up on rates to me is not even an option. I know it happened after Lance moves, you know. Just, I fight against it hard as I can. I may lose, but I'm gonna fight against it. That's gonna leave reserves, it's gonna leave cut. I
We
don't know
have,
what the rest of the council feels like, but I'm just gonna go ahead and say two things. Two things. I think could happen, didn't actually think would happen. Happened within 3 weeks of each other. Pretty incredible. Think about it. Incredible, not in a great way, but Like I said, people, we haven't even started feeling. Oh, we haven't even started feeling the effects of this, not really.
Nope.
Some of the mill have, I understand some have already been, what they call it, tapped on the shoulder. And like I said, the effects of it hasn't really sunk in. It's going to. But it hasn't yet. We're just gonna have to take things one day at a time. Just do the best we can do. Like I said, we're in extraordinary times right this moment. And everybody's kind of running in the red right now. A lot of anxiety.
I do agree with you. What about the corner utility? This hit that we have taken is very devastating. And we looked at trying to figure out what we can do then.
Salary increases we were proposing. But you got that out.
I'm kind of confused because we have a $2.5 million contingency. So if it's only $500,000 loss, we still got a $2 million contingency.
So we will be able to stand without that 500,000.
Mm-hmm.
For this year.
Yeah.
Next,
And this,
remember, and I haven't checked him out, but I believe in his numbers. Aaron said next year, we're starting off with a $500,000 deficit. So now with this, we're talking about $1 million deal.
We ain't even come close.
Even if you use your reserves, you will be bankrupt quickly. That's not the solution. You cannot, if you look at what makes up this budget, two things, major items, personnel costs and the rest of the costs. You cannot cut the rest of the costs. And if you try to, you're playing a game that you're going to lose. You cannot say, well, we'll cut $100,000 out of utilities. That's not possible. It will never happen. The only place in this budget that you can cut the expenses is in the personnel cost. That's just the way it is. That's the facts. And then you've got you can use some of your reserve, and you may have to use some of your reserve. But personnel is the only place. I can guarantee it.
I don't think everybody would be willing to give up a 3% raise just to be thankful to have a job right now. The way I feel about it.
That's where I would go.
Mhm.
If I was gonna cut with the 3%. The longevity needs to stay in place. We've waited long to put it in place. We got a chance to do it. It's 3%.
I think we'll give him a raise. Stop getting 3%.
You don't fully know the effect of what this is gonna cost. And that's 525 employees at 80,000 a year is $40 million. 80% of that money recirculates back in this county. 80% of that money recirculates back. 80% of that money recirculates back. That's a $250 million hit per year. We're talking about $1 billion over 4 or 5 years. And they don't open the doors again. We gotta be prepared for that.
You're dang right, we gotta be prepared for it.
haven't
We're hoping. There's sure any guarantees.
How many vacant positions have we got?
5 probably. A couple in police and a couple in fire.
I mean, we listed in police.
Be
I mean, we short on police.
5.
5 and just
Well,
police.
we're not short in fire.
Not,
Yes,
no
ma'am.
fire, no,
Yeah, they are.
the one ain't it?
Just
We
one.
got one and then moving the chief to 8 hours, make it 2.
That'd be too
Yeah.
You say five,
See, we can get,
police officers.
I'm gonna go ahead and say one more thing too, if I may. If I may say something real quick, a lot of things are gonna get thrown on the table, not everything's gonna stick. But a lot of things are gonna get talked about. Don't panic. We don't know if any of them's gonna come to fruition, but a lot of things are gonna.
Already.
We're gonna have to. And it's just like, if you, like all the people who are losing their jobs, they're looking at every option they have to try to survive, and we're going to do the same thing. So, we're gonna look at every possible option. This is the way it is. I have to. So, anyway,
I agree, every option except raising rates.
correct.
Exactly.
That's not our answer.
Well, it just, yeah. We can't tax and spend our way out of this. No way, we don't have that major credit card some other government agencies have. Anyway, the positions that are open right now that are not filled, is there any possibility they can be not filled and everything's still working like it's supposed to?
Not with our police officers, no, we gotta get that filled.
Something else, time, welcome people, get us filled up just to give people some jobs.
I mean, our budget is balanced for this year. If you want to cut 3% next year because we need to, then that's what we need to do. The 3%, we can fill the positions. We need to provide jobs in businesses, because a lot of the things that we repair and buy is money in the community that keeps turning over, including those raises are being spent and turned over in the community. We've got the budget advertised and set, and it's okay. We've got a $2 million contingency. You don't need to do a thing.
What about your $500,000 that's gonna quit coming in?
It was a $2.5 million contingency.
I'm talking about $500,000 in utilities that's gonna quit coming in.
Right. So the $2.5 million contingency now becomes a $2 million contingency.
Talking about reserves.
No,
So,
in excess profit, in
Mm.
what we're saving for the infrastructures that we've talked about.
yeah, what do we have in reserves right?
14, 16 million. I sent the cash report out the other day.
But that's restricted.
I understand.
Not all of it. Not all of it.
How much, okay, how much we have in unrestricted reserves? Rephrase it.
Cash report. Total restricted is 5.1 million. And unrestricted is 10.2 million. Unrestricted. So we're doing pretty good. And we've got a 2.461, this is the same stuff y'all had last meeting, contingency that's savings. Well, now we're not going to have $500,000 of that. So you're still at $2 million to the good. And that gives us a whole 12 months. We don't need to be knee jerk, because this money's going to turn over in the community. And we're going to buy and fix and repair things in the community. I mean, this is what we've been doing. And so we're helping employ people, not just us, but the small businesses.
Kicking the can down the road.
Well, I say let's no,
Face
because
it, go ahead and face it.
there's nothing to face. We're going to deal with this, and let's not. The ship isn't sinking yet. It's bad. We've got to turn this around, because the small businesses and all are really going to hurt. But we can employ and turn that money over in the community. I mean, we're good for now. It's advertised. I don't even know if you can legally change this, because it's advertised today.
Sure.
Well, I don't know.
Well, we're not unprecedented times right now.
Well, the thing is, the state, I mean, I can do a budget amendment after the fact, or even 6 months into the year. If you want to recoil some of the money, we can do that. But the thing is, there's no need to do all this right now in this fiscal year. I mean, you're to the good. You're still savings. As it sits right now, you're still going to be saving that $2 million in the infrastructure kitty.
You don't know if people have to leave town, shut their water and utilities off.
Mhm.
It's all gonna trickle down.
Because people don't go to selling houses and get bankrupt. They're gonna be getting out of here.
Well, but there's also people, there's highly skilled labor over at the mill. A lot of these people can open their own electrical, plumbing, air conditioning type shops. They're a highly skilled labor force. So if they want to stay here, they can help fill some of those job shortages and have their own electrical businesses and so forth.
I don't have any doubt we're gonna rebound. It just ain't gonna happen.
I want
It's
to
gonna
speak
take,
to them.
it's gonna take some time.
Okay,
But we do have a lot of industries here that could create, work with and help grow. We can expand our sewer and water systems to them, maybe help solve it.
And we are going to be, we have a lot of projects we want to spend and we want to do a lot of remediation and stuff like that, mitigation on a lot of the stuff to harden our infrastructures. We've got a lot of plans with grant monies and all that. So, I mean, we've got a lot of things going on and the finances to do it. And, it's not broken yet. And we are able to absorb this hit right now.
the capital outlays that are not of right now need, we can also take those out of the budget. Like for the parks.
Well, they're being funded by ARPA.
This is my thing. I feel that the city is obligated to help with whatever the initiative is to try to either get by the buyer, these people gonna be hurting pretty bad. And if they go on unemployment, they will only receive $275 per week. And that's going to be a big blow to them. So the city needs to do something to help. One of my thoughts is maybe help the TCDA, who's out there trying to find a job. They have an executive director now.
Why haven't they been doing it then?
They have an executive
All of a sudden, you
director.
can't just wake up.
There was a lot of in-house stuff built up.
They have someone now who's coming to job to do that. I guess he's a paid.
Taylor,
Uh-huh.
yeah, everyone's just in that position there. That's a paid position.
And we gotta trust someone to get out there and do it. I think
They've got a whole task force working on it. Shirley, you were there at the meeting the
I
other
was
night.
at the meeting.
Well, last
did-
night they gave an update and they're working
They're
hard as they can. And drawing people in, not just from Perry, but from all around,
All
even
over.
from out of the country. To try to find a buyer for it, but
There's
Right,
one
we
great-
but-
cannot continue to rely on the mill
To supporters.
to support the people of Taylor County and the surrounding county.
Okay, isn't that one of the
We have
reasons?
to look at bringing in other industries.
Isn't that one of the reasons Taylor been there is to go
Yes.
out and bring other
Yes,
businesses in?
yes,
That also is gonna help the city of Perry.
hopefully, if you can get them to come.
Well, I'm looking on the positive side. I know that we need help in some way or another. We can't just sit idly by and not do it.
Help out.
You
Yes,
say help.
yeah.
You mean,
Whatever it is we can do to help. We can't just say we the city, we don't have this and that. This is our town. The county is doing everything they can do. What about us? What are we going to do about it?
keep water, sewer, and gas flowing.
And be an employer and
Keep on.
build and keep jobs going.
Keep our infrastructure in place,
Do
as we
you,
expand it.
do
That's
you,
one, that's one of the biggest problems some of these manufacturers have trying to expand is water and sewer.
do you think that we can, maybe talk to the Department of Commerce and, get a CAP, customer assistance program?
That's not something for the city to be doing. Somebody's already doing all of that. That's way above us.
Well, speaking of the Florida Commerce, formerly known as DEO. It was a pleasure talking with you, Penny. Thank you for taking my call. The menu below is a quick synopsis, and it's a memo about low-income household water assistance program deadline. And we have an important update regarding $30 million in LIWHA, Low-Income Housing Water Assistance Program. So what this has done, and he signed it, and I've requested from our computer company to come up with the parameters that they need for all of our water utility customers. And they compare it to the low income, I guess people that get some kind of help, and the SNAP. So if your name's on that list, they're going to see what you owe, what's back owed on your address and all that. And then they will contact the people, which Aaron needs to put in the paper. So if they do receive a call about, and this would be in October somewhere probably, through email or telephone saying, do they okay that their utility bill gets paid to the city of Perry? And I think they have to like agree to it, you know, to accept the help. And so, yes, Bill, someone's already done that.
I'll say, but that you're referring to them as low income. And somebody brought up last night at the meeting that people that have applied to FEMA and other places for help, their income was good and they didn't get any help. And now their income is nothing.
And like GP
And-
people, they haven't had a chance.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
that's a whole different,
Yes,
you know,
but that's a component.
very much a component, but is that going to show in their research?
No, because it's probably just gonna be people that's on the,
Yeah.
on the,
Yeah.
that's already on in the queue.
Exactly. So that's not going to help your GP
Correct.
situation.
Yep.
It's just, I mean, I'm not saying it's not a good idea. It is.
Mhm.
But I'm just saying they need to be factored in some way. Because those are the people we're trying to help.
What would you suggest?
I don't know. I don't have a suggestion for it. I'm just pointing out that it needs to be factored in some way.
Unless we could
I
talk to
agree.
these people that further on saying, you know, you need to run that same report, you know, in November and December,
Yes.
also to see,
Mhm.
Give them a chance to
because
update their
people
income.
that are going up to the unemployment,
Mhm.
you gotta give them a chance to, because they're not unemployed yet.
Right.
So, but the Department of Commerce is, clearly seeing the need here. Because they
Yesterday, some of them are.
Mhm.
So I'm what?
Unemployed.
That's what I'm talking about earlier. They only got the tap on the shoulder.
They're, I was
They're
told
already-
last
they're
night
already
they're
out.
walking them out today.
They are.
Yeah.
Well, yesterday also,
Mhm.
And they are not going on seniority.
they're not being nice.
You
No, they're not being nice, period.
didn't the
Not
lady
about
say to
armed
me that
guards.
they'd already stuck to insurance, American?
I'm not real sure about that because the lady that was there that made that report spoke again last night. And she said that, when she called to check on what's going on, they told her right off the bat, without her even asking, it's not the company's fault. Just like that. And she hadn't even asked yet.
Mhm.
So we don't know what that was all about, but it was somehow a deal between the banking systems.
They can't do that. They can't do that.
Well, who can't do that?
Whoever the folk, they can't disruptly just cut their insurance like that. They can't do that.
Well, that's what the bankers were saying, that it's not the company's fault. It was a snafu some way between the banking situation.
You may have noticed, have any idea?
But it affected that girl, that family just the same, regardless of whose fault it was.
John, did you receive notification that this was happening?
No, this was like, you come to work, bam, this it.
I thought there was a federal law that they had notified government.
Shirley got it. What day did you get it? Yesterday?
Tuesday.
Dude,
Was it Monday?
Day after got it.
I guess what they're saying is that it already planned
I found out more.
on closing.
Well, it started
Yeah, they admitted up front
keep
that
that a
it
secret.
was in the works before the hurricane.
You want to read
They
it?
just hadn't announced.
Shirley got it Monday at 5:01.
After the announcement.
You want to read it?
They showed up at the station about 10.
Earlier today, we shared the news that Georgia Pacific has made the decision to permanently close the Foley Mill. Foley Mill has proud history, and I'm incredibly grateful for the hard work and dedication of our team, both now and in years past. This is a strategic decision. Ultimately, we do not believe that the mill can competitively serve our customers in the long term, despite the significant investments and commitment by GP Cellulose since we acquired the site. This has nothing to do with the quality of work of the Foley Mill team. This decision was made prior to the recent hurricane, and I know that the timing is challenging given the ongoing recovery at the mill and in the community. This news will no doubt create concern and uncertainty for many of you. We will work with affected employees on transitions to other opportunities within GP, other Coke companies, or opportunities outside the company. We are committed to supporting finding employment through job fairs, placement services, and other available resources. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to Scott Mixon or myself. Sent a letter with all the positions labeled out of what was going to be lost. It was 516 employees.
That's
Sure.
just their employees,
Yeah.
not all
They
the
ain't got no
contractors.
contractors.
Loggers, dockers, yeah.
So already
Because they
started.
have already started. Stop set this up in Lawton.
Couple of days ago, I think it's last week. Just over there.
I mean, I could be wrong, but I see two ways that we could help. And that's with the utilities. And maybe helping TDCA,
I didn't hear what you said.
assistant TDCA. It's the way I see for the city.
Well,
But you saying give them money?
We're all giving them, we don't work out of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We're just,
somebody give them money.
It is good, but not just the county. It's good for the cities.
Steve, would you like to say something?
You know, they come before us.
I was asking Steve if he'd like to say something. Steve spent a lot of most of his life out there.
Yes,
Yeah, I'll be sure. Oh,
No, I'm not a vote.
Come up here
I
where we
can
can
see.
see. Thank you.
appreciate it. I'm Steve Johnson, lived here all my life and worked out in the mill for 32 years, just recently retired. First, I appreciate y'all talking about, when you're talking about solutions, you're not talking about upping people's rates and all. Really appreciate that, because a lot of people are losing their jobs that can't afford their rates to go up if they're even able to stay in the city and the county. And just my thoughts on Georgia Pacific. I've heard y'all speak about hopefully getting a buyer. I've got a lot of experience with Georgia Pacific. I was vice president of our local union for about 14 years. And, so I've had experience with other people that were at Georgia Pacific sites before we were Georgia Pacific. And Georgia Pacific's track record has not been to sell. They've been to close down. And we've got people working out that were working out of the middle that came from other Georgia Pacific sites that closed down and wouldn't sell. They did at least try to help people find a spot somewhere else, but that doesn't help our community right now. And I can't say that they never would sell, but I certainly wouldn't have that as an option, or I wouldn't be holding my breath for that. And I hate saying that. That mill's been here my whole life, and my dad retired from there. I retired from there. I've got family out there that I was hoping had the opportunity to retire. As far as solutions, I don't know. You guys know more than I do about it. All I could say was be support the TEA, and anything we can do as a whole to help them find other industries that might be willing to come into our county. I would also, and this may not be a popular subject, but the Super Puff. Super Puff has a lot of people over there that are not, that aren't coming from here. And they're basically being bused back and forth to work every day. There's a lot of people born and raised right here that are needing jobs right now, that it's gonna hurt their feelings to not have an opportunity to go out there if that stays that way. And I don't know that there's anything could be done about that at this point, but it's just a thought. Anyway, I appreciate y'all letting me speak.
Don't you think if they were willing to sell, that would already be going on?
Very likely. And a big thing about our facility that makes it unique is the specialty pulps and the recipes, for lack of a better term, for the pulps here. I've heard the whole time they've owned it that they bought this place to get the recipe, and they'll make the specialty pulps in another facility.
Why? Why would they do that?
They're GP.
Money,
This is money.
money, they can produce it cheaper elsewhere.
Yep.
They just need the patent.
They can add on to another plant, which I believe they already have to make these
I
special.
know their plant Fruiton, they had an announcement on September 7th. Their plant Fruiton, Alabama has made a lot of modernizations. And I can't confirm it, but I've heard their Palatka plant has made some modernizations that might allow them to make our products.
That's the only thing they really have to sell. They're those patents.
Yes, sir. That's what made our plant as valuable as it was those specialty pulps, because there were only a couple of facilities that made it. Rayonier was our major competitor.
I looked at Rayonier stock yesterday and it was at about $2.50 from all time high of 40. That money just, I guess, not there in that specialty market like it used to be.
Anyway, I appreciate you enlightening us.
Yeah,
That'll be what we want to hear,
I don't
but
like sound like really, but that's just the reality.
you gotta hear the truth. Now's the time for truth.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Sean, you'd like to say something?
Today, we're supposed to have a meeting with Duke about building something, I think it's off Thomas Dip, it's about where the citrus trees are.
Andy Jackson.
And I mean, whatever we could do to make that kind of happen. I mean, I don't know how many people they would employ, but they would take city water and gas, wastewater. So, I mean, I agree with what he says. I mean, we can't rely on them opening back up. Whatever we can do to get somebody in here. I mean, that needs to be our goal. If we have to discount them water, gas, whatever, for how long, get them in the door, make it very
Some
easy.
form of industrial incentive for them to come to Perry that we can handle. Reason, obviously, because we're talking these large facilities, you're talking more than upgrades could require more than what we have in all reserve. But
That's the kind
that's
of thing.
something across the board, everybody needs to be thinking about some form of an incentive that we will actually prosper from. The gas incentive we've used for years, it helps the individual customers. We never make our money back off of what we invest in. We don't. With industrial and commercial, we will.
We're
We
gonna
can
do anything
gain
to
as
help.
well as them.
We're gonna do anything to help TCDA. That's the kind of thing we can do.
Incentive.
Writing them checks ain't gonna help.
It needs to be like y'all would reference and Bill had said from utility standpoints, I believe. It's where we can actually do something that'll help.
So work on a incentive
Incentive packet.
Well,
In a nutshell, yes.
We talked about that exact same thing in the TCDA meeting yesterday, trying to maybe get the state or whoever to help us.
yes.
Possibly buy that property, turn it into an industrial park, kind of like, look up Polk counties, how they did it. They got a very nice industrial park, kind of funded by the state and county to get it started.
I thought we had an industrial.
Got an industrial boulevard, we got a road.
You got two aluminum places in the airport and fire department. I mean, it's not,
Where's the house?
What about the city's 55 acres?
Been there this whole time. For anybody who wants to come.
Well, maybe we can work something on that somehow.
So, but is that
Exactly.
renting it out?
We'll rent it, but I'm assuming they won't be here much longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I say they're
Farm them.
meal contractors.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'll see that staying much longer.
Have they started construction on their apartments
So once
since they get the
I don't
permit?
think
yet?
so. I don't think so.
Should be real
I haven't
close.
heard of
I'm not,
I saw a new permit advertised in the paper today. And it didn't come to the public, so that was probably the step they had to take. Fire
What paper see that in? Is there-
You need to keep in mind what I'm about to say. At some point in time, we gave these larger users a reduction in rates to come. In this budget, we're reversing that now. We're taking that away from them. We're charging them more. Kind of a bait and switch program.
Can't the larger users get their own contracts? Kind of like super.
Well, yeah, but that's how we got some of them.
But then those calculations don't work the same. I agree. I figured they'd be kicking up some sand once they get their first bills, but they're not here today. So
They're not gonna worry about it now,
I'm not gonna worry about
It was supposed to be GP on it.
it. And the president,
mostly.
Superpuff has their own contract though.
For how long?
5 more years, y'all find it. They got the cheapest gas in town.
And water. And no penalties except water.
Anyways, what direction do they need to think about it till Tuesday night? Or, we need to decide something today, or can we put together some ideas between now and then,
Okay, so
come up with something Tuesday night and just go with it?
what are our plans to help the GP layoff? Don't have any yet.
I don't need, there's really no deadline. I mean, as problems come up in the next quarter, next 2 quarters, see what's needed in town, see what's going on in TCDA, see what's going on in the community and address it as it comes. I mean, if we see a need that we can fulfill, then let's do it, and
I think they want something from us,
Who knows?
the committee,
What community?
task force,
What do they want
Yes.
from us?
and county.
Yes, they asked last night. What about the city? What are they gonna, what can y'all do?
What do they want from us? I wasn't there, so I don't know.
I got the impression it had to do,
Do they want a check, or what do they want?
no, I got the impression they wanted us to do something about the customers that we have, The only thing I can see is that we not charge them a late fee or something like that, as far as helping the customers, but,
we're not right now due to the hurricane.
right.
We can make a more
Extend
during
that.
COVID. How long did we not charge late fees?
or credit card fees. We had.
Yeah, the credit card fees.
Well, I mean, the city would have to pay the credit card fee then.
Yeah, I know we were. But yeah, we had a moratorium during COVID.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did. It was
Yeah,
in
we
the
did.
paper today, it was mentioned.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know nothing about it.
Well, you weren't involved in this much back then, but she's training my new person, so it's like
Oh.
she's back in it. But yeah, I mean, those are options we have, and we can look at those anytime.
And that helps the people that need it. It doesn't I can't see just doling out to everybody, because everybody doesn't need it. But the people that need it can ask for it, and we can, or we can just not charge late
Yeah.
fees.
Yeah, you have
Period.
to not charge. them,
Right,
because
and
our
if
system-
they've got a problem, they can come and talk like they've been doing, and we adjust their deal or do whatever we have to help them out. But, and I love the idea of not doing the 3% and filling these positions so that we've got, got people helping with jobs that are available.
I recommend not do the 3%, hire 3 people. Instead.
Yeah.
Use that money to hire people. We can't help 516, but we can help some.
We have the money for the whole budget, so.
Right.
I don't understand why we're cutting when we can employ people and get that raise. It's gonna turn over in the community.
Because you're looking this way.
No,
You
no.
need, yes, you are. You need to look this way. How are you gonna make it up next year? Tell me that.
You don't have to give the 3% next year.
No, I'm talking about what you give the 3% or whatever you give this year. It'll be there next year
We'll have less contingency
you'll-
next year.
and you will have to cover it somehow.
The 3%'s about
$87,000.
$100,000 right now, and you've got a $2.4 million contingency. Minus
Only-
500,000.
Only because you've got this ARPA money.
I know.
That's the only reason. That's going away.
Yeah, it is.
We still have some more for next year, and we're gonna have FEMA money coming in soon, so you know what, we're gonna have to do with what we got. The thing is, we don't need to, knee jerk into this. Because that money will turn over in the community.
I don't think we're trying to knee jerk as much as it is, we're gonna lose $500,000 starting the first,
Which was savings,
which is happening.
but it's a savings.
It's not next budget year, it's this
It's for
budget year.
infrastructure.
That's just the beginning.
Right,
Understood.
after being, we don't even know what depth of it's gonna be yet. I mean, we got. Well, one of the sugar companies is flying in today, do this job fair, and that's out of Lewiston. Try to attract people to go to.
Yeah, we're gonna lose some
Leave that here.
population. Small businesses will certainly close.
Got two phone calls from them, they're supposed to be landing at the airport. About 20 minutes.
Can I say something?
Yes, sir. No,
Anyway,
He's gonna donate half of his cost.
is that what he's gonna do?
Yeah,
So he's gonna donate $500,000 too?
$100. I got a $500,000, but I hear you talking about natural gas. Does the city make money on natural gas?
Yes.
I've got 9 Generac generators running on my properties right now. They run for 5 straight days. Did I make money for the city?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
I'm building 2 more. I picked put 4 more Generac generators on. Every rental place I put a Generac generator on for the renters. If I'm gonna have one, I want them to have one. I come up with a daggone lighter, not fire. And he was talking about Buckeye out yonder. I started out there in 1960, January, making $1 an hour. $40 a week I made right out there, and they would not hire me because I didn't have a high school education. That was Buckeye then, by Procter and Gamble. So I said, the hell with them. I left here and stayed gone 40 years. I come back. But it was a road, and the construction workers don't care. They gonna go find a job somewhere. My company in St. Cloud, Florida right now, where we got 40 men working down there. But I heard them say right here, well, we make $32 an hour. You ain't gonna find that outside the Taylor County place, And LaCour, we'd like to get the gas line run on down LaCour. I got a house that don't have a generator because it don't have natural gas there. Anthony knows what I'm talking about. If they run that line, you got, I don't know, 7 or 8 houses would probably put natural gas in. Now I got 5 items in every one of my rental units that uses natural gas. 5 items.
what's your
So-
point, Sonny?
Huh?
What's your point?
My point is this. You said you're gonna go up on the natural gas.
No, no,
Okay.
no,
No, we're not.
no.
We're not increasing rates on
No.
gas.
Well, I heard going up, charge more on the natural gas.
Not on the
No.
gas. Nothing is, no,
No.
not on gas.
No, it's talking about more of an incentive for to bring in more commercial businesses and such as that. Which.
No, I'm not commercial though. So,
Well,
No, we're not going up on natural gas.
is there any way we might get the gas line run around the core?
I
You
don't
know,
know.
it can be done, Sonny. The amount of money that we put in for the incentive that we have, that it costs the city, we may make that back in 10 or 15 years off of your bills. Not to mention the main line that gets run down that road. The costs are so great for the piping, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and then throw in the amount of time we do. We're not making money off of residences. Yours are a little better because you threw everything in. Everything is gas. Majority of people want a fireplace and a stove. About $40 a month. That meter that hangs on that house is $450, just a meter. Not the regulator, not the tap, not the time, not the pipe, not the liability. We'll throw that in there too, being adult. It's a wonderful thing. It helps out the individuals, the homeowners, the residents of this town. That's why we've still been doing it. But it's not a profit for the city. Yours, like I said, a little better. They're burning a little more than $40 a month on average, yes. Because especially during the winter time, you got to eat. But
well, mine's not low cost housing, I'll tell you that.
yours are,
Nice places.
That's what I like to think about other people. Hear about low cost housing every time I turn around. So that's all I got to say about it. And these people that's getting laid off out here at Buckeye, they gonna go find jobs in construction workers. You know, I was working on one job and I'm gonna sit down in Oswego, New York, 1983. They cut our hours and 1,500 welders left at one time. That's a construction worker for you. You ain't gonna fire us, we gonna leave. And I carried 3 union cards then, iron workers, boiler makers, and pipe fitters. Ain't supposed to carry but one. I broke the union laws. Thank y'all for listening.
thank you, son.
Better sit down before you reveal something else.
Do what?
I said you better sit down before you reveal something else.
You do too much.
All right, so where do we wanna go? Make a decision right now, or do we wanna think about it, maybe put a couple, 3 people together and come up with something for Tuesday night? What direction are we take? Or just maybe get together 2 or 3 people, just kind of sort it out and think about it. Tuesday night, we'll just finalize it. I mean, 'cause y'all understand better, y'all work with it every day. You know, Mr. Bryan's has a ton of experience with the numbers and operation of the city. So you did it for how long? 20-something years. Yeah.
So we talked about dropping
So-
to 3% and putting a moratorium on late fees.
Those
Right.
options.
But sooner or
If I
later-
were making a motion, that's what I would like.
3% raise, you mean, or
The 3% raise,
for this year?
drop that for this year, in this coming budget to cover the $500,000 loss.
Covered, but it'll help.
Well, yeah, it'll help. And then, and what did I say?
Keep
The
going.
moratorium on the late fees will help the people that really need it. That's what, if I were making a motion, that's what I would motion.
I'd say all that adds up to about 150,000.
That all we had to-
Like I said, the budget is balanced and even with the $500,000 loss.
But it could be a whole lot more than that. We don't really know.
Okay, say it's $1 million loss.
You
still-
can't depend on those ARPA funds to hold us up, or the
The
FEMA
ARPA,
money.
I'm talking about this year, the ARPA funds are in the bank to spend, so that's a done deal for this year. Okay, so we're still, even if we take $1 million loss from GP and that, we're still at 1.5 million to the good. Why take raises when that's gonna go into the community, that's gonna help pay for that little extra, take your kid to get their teeth cleaned and the nail salon once in a while, and that's gonna keep those small businesses thriving, because they're gonna lose a lot of business. Because it's a trickle down, it's a domino effect, and I get that. That's what makes me afraid for the citizens. But so you start taking money out of the system, you're just as culpable as GP.
So I'd rather use that money and hire a couple people. We just moved up on the list of employers.
We're not shutting down like GP shut down. We're still operating.
Right,
Still trying to operate.
you're still turning money over in the community, and the thing is, you're still having a balanced budget.
But I would personally beat the bush and see what I can come up with as far as system. These people don't qualify for whatever the Department of Commerce is.
They've got the
Yes,
low
yeah.
income thing, but if you wanna,
If I can come up with a grant to help these people that are being laid off pay their water bill, because it's gonna be okay. You all don't see it, but I see it.
how many of those
So,
employees,
You were saying, we're gonna charge them the late fees. Hey, that's not what's stopping them from paying their water.
so we're gonna have to show credentials that they used to work at GP and now they get
See,
a
that's
break.
why I was like, how we gonna distinguish between them?
That's not my lane to look at that stuff, people. And the thing is, and how many of them actually live in Taylor County? I heard a lot of them live in Tallahassee,
Oh, all around.
all around.
If they don't work here, then we don't live there, they're not. on our-
That's what I'm saying. So, I mean, so basically, again, we're employing people and buying
I
stuff.
said, I would do that. If I come up with a grant, so.
Can't pick and choose. No,
It's for anyone who needs it.
lawsuits.
This is for anyone who needs it, Bill.
GP ain't gonna be the only people. People gonna get laid off by the places besides GP.
Yeah,
Right, it's gonna trickle down. But I don't know.
it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad.
It's gonna be bad, and we're here to assist them, but
I haven't heard it.
we don't have to decide today how we're gonna help. Like I say, in 6 months, there might become an issue that's saying these people now need help with this.
It's gonna be less than 6 months.
Then we can cross that bridge when we know what's the need. If you don't know what the need is, because just throwing money at it's not gonna fix it.
But knowing the bridge is out before you get there is good information.
And we see that, the bridge is blocked up. So the thing is, and the low income thing, the government stepped up with that right off the bat. So let's see what else they come up with, and then we can fill in the gaps we see fit. We don't have to make decisions today. We can take it monthly, quarterly, half a year, 3/4 of a year. We're not going anywhere.
And I would say, I agree with Penny. And like in my department, I have a guy, he might retire in March. Well, that's later down the road. Well, we can decide then, we don't need to fill that position. So,
What if he don't retire?
that's what I'm just saying, those are things that could happen.
You ever heard if was a horse, we could all go for a ride?
Yes, sir.
And that's what you're talking about.
Well, that's what he's saying.
There will be things that change, and I would, me personally, I would wait.
If you go through with these compensation that you got in here, the only way to get out of that is a layoff.
Layoff with the city?
Yes.
We don't have,
No.
Well,
That's
what
not
he's saying,
happening.
though. Once you put it in place, you
That's the
how
only
do
way
you
to
get out of it?
that's,
if you
Yeah.
need to.
And next year, if you don't want to give a 3% budget, don't give.
Penny, how balanced is our budget minus and all our capital outlays out of it? I know we're spending 100% out of ARPA, correct?
We're spending, a lot of it's grants, but,
Grants
How,
that
how
are
much, how
guaranteed.
much is coming out of the city's pocket?
no, and then we would do the projects, but there's a lot of funds out
How
there.
much, how much?
One
capital
point-
outlays is
1.3 million. 1.3 million is ARPA funded and,
We can enjoy while it
and
lasts.
1.4, exactly.
But you only got what
Yeah,
they
you
got
don't
this
do
year.
that.
and
I don't
next
wanna
year
do it.
anyway.
It's going away. That's
And the
So-
1.4 is it,
they're
like
doing
it's-
this.
How much ARPA is left over, what, somewhere around?
oh, we probably got 500,000 after that. It'll be for the 25 fiscal year. And FEMA funds will be coming in by then too.
Be looking at that for your capital outlay expenses next year. Next year is gonna be where the budget is gonna be truthfully.
It'll be trickier. I mean, this was
truthfully
a
hit if
super easy
something does
year
not come up.
till this.
I
So
mean,
we leave
it
everything the
happened
way it
before
is.
with Super Puff. $140,000 of this money you're talking about is stuff that just was fixing to happen with gas we've never got before. You're at what, $360,000?
That's
Water
all
loss
in the
roughly.
budget. It's
Roughly.
figured in.
So I mean, that'll be a removal from next year. You're still gonna be at a $2 million.
Profit,
Yeah,
you're
right.
saying?
Profit, yes. What is your overall?
Mhm.
You're not
For
gonna
this year that we're talking, the budget,
I'm talking theoretically for next.
I don't know.
You're at 2.5 is what you were saying. You're cutting down to 2.
Yeah, this
Correct.
the budget that we're trying to pass.
But,
Yes, yes.
I don't think we're going to have any way of anticipating the budget.
No, that's,
I really
that's,
don't.
We don't, but this is my, not to cut you off, this is what I'm asking. So we decide to leave everything the way it is. That's your suggestion. And everything trickle down. Like you said, it's gonna trickle down. What if it comes to the point we, like Mr. Bill just said, we're gonna have to laying off these people in the city because of the decisions that we're making now. I'm one of the ones, I like to get ahead of it. I don't like to get behind.
I don't see where you're gonna be laying off anybody.
It's gonna trickle down, Ms. Penny. Think
The-
about it.
It's gonna get down in the property
It's
taxes.
gonna get down in the taxes. It's gonna, yeah, you're gonna go to losing customers.
Water get turned
And
off.
you gotta think about it.
That's not. gonna
Businesses are
happen.
gonna go to closing because what if my significant other was one that was working at Buckeye and now he has to leave and I got.
It's not,
That's it.
it's
Mhm.
not gonna go in that degree. And like I say, you still got $2.4 million variance.
We talk about a police force that's down 5 employees right now.
That's because they can't find anybody.
I already have applications.
Yeah, so that's, and they
Let's send it to
need,
school
they need,
So we gotta add that to the budget.
no, that's in the budget.
Okay.
We budgeted for a full staff.
Yeah, we always budget for a full staff. And there will be those savings, like I'm saying, let's see what happens, and we can always recoil on some things if we need to.
I don't want it to just get to the point we are gonna have. It hits us.
It's not gonna happen in this budget year here.
We got to think down the road. We can't just think this year.
We,
I don't know how you can say that, Penny.
I'm talking.
You
about
don't
the
know,
council.
you have no idea how many people are gonna leave this county and go somewhere else. And we're not gonna be getting their water and sewer and garbage billings.
Taxes.
So how can you say
their
that?
taxes are for the last year. They will be get paid. When their houses sell or whatever. And a lot of people are looking to move to Florida, and a lot of people are looking to move out of big cities. So we have been gaining population here and businesses, so there's still hope for this town.
Yeah, there is, but history, if you look at, I read and heard, if you look at the history on GP, when they move out, when they walk away, the town just dries up
Well,
to
well,
the size of Greenville or Mayo or, you know.
well.
Got close meet time.
So at this point. What I'm hearing is the only thing we could do. Concerning Buckeye Lake, the GP layoff. Is not having to pay late. And incentives.
Can't take a 3% raise when that many people just lost their job. I'd rather hire 3 of them. Can't make a difference for all of them. We can make a difference for a few of them.
That matters.
And where will you put them at?
I don't know.
I would
don't care.
love
Like,
that.
it's like, where's the postage at?
I'll throw that out there.
Yeah, parks, we would love, be nice to have somebody to, like say, an operator. The phone calls that we get would help those girls in the billing department. Would
Well,
help
just,
all
but
of
yeah, phone
us.
calls in y'all's office too.
Oh, yeah, but I'm saying the billing department, when they're busy, that phone's ringing off the hook.
Yeah.
There's things that can be done.
But those are such long-term effects. It's just reversing everything they
It's
just said.
identical to a 3% rate. That 3% is there in the budget every year after that. It's
One
identical.
person.
So you could get 3 people out
You
of our
get 3.
3% raise.
No one takes it. No one, if none of us get that 3%.
So you have about $100,000.
And that 6 million, 3% to 180. Plus FICA and all that, closer to 200,
Yeah.
180, that's 3 people, easy, 4 people.
And then you've got
If you,
forever.
yeah, you know how to act.
And how much is the longevity?
87,000.
That's how many people is that? How many? I mean, how many will be received?
40 something, 44.
Yeah, and then next year, 8.
Nah, I can't remember.
8, 9. But then once those people are hired, then you gotta keep them on the payroll.
It's equivalent to a 3% raise, unless you cut it back the next year.
Well, so you're saying 3% is foregone next year too.
That 3% is stuck in there forever. Unless you go backwards 3%.
3% this year's only 175.
That's the equivalent 175 the next year, year after that, year after that. That's the equivalent to hiring 3 people and not us getting a 3% raise.
Just this one time.
It's identical.
That's a recurring expense.
That's what I'm saying. It's a recurring expense.
So is a 3% raise unless you take it back from everybody.
Like we're stuck.
Well, if we're running this. If you hire 3 more employees, they're gonna, we're gonna spend more money because they're gonna do more. And they're gonna have to have more vehicles and things like that. So I see both sides of it, and I really don't know which way to go either, but I mean, I don't think we should just make a decision. We should think about it.
I would just suggest.
I mean, I'd like to run some numbers too, but this is,
Story of the little girl throwing starfish off the beach. And a man ran up to her and said, "You can't make a difference for all of them." She threw one back, said, "I made a difference for that one." We could hire a few people and not take a 3% raise. And get more work done.
So the only change that you suggested to the budget is removing 3%.
That's what I would do. Throw out there, when Bill was city manager, he had 112 employees. I think we're at 88 right now. There's work that can be done.
A lot of work.
Mhm.
They need help.
Yeah.
But 3% sounds good.
well, I'm gonna have to call the state and find out about the legalities of the budget because the published ad is what we're supposed to be passing. So I
The
don't know,
whole reason that you publish the ad is so people show up at the meeting
to
give input, which then allows you to make changes. So
uh,
unless I'm crazy for 30 years, the whole reason you advertise the proposed budget
mhm.
is so that people show up and give this kind of input, which allows you then to make changes for the final year.
I hope so.
The
The
charter
state's
says-
kind of anal about it though.
The charter says you can amend it up till passing.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
It hasn't passed.
Mm-mm.
Just want to make sure because they're kind of like Nazis. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Got a question. It seems to be a sticking point on the 3% raise. Is it not possible to make an amendment to just be able to give the raise for this year's budget and not have it recurring each year?
Make it a bonus. Yes.
So that it would be covered in what's already budgeted. But you wouldn't have to worry about that increase next year.
Well, they don't have to
Hey,
increase.
It's not,
anyway.
it's not legally reoccurring. It's
No.
just that people expect it and that's why they
Okay,
give it.
I'm-
No, I get it.
It's supposed to be a cost of living that they give us. When cost of living goes up 7-8%, that 3% kind of helps offset that.
And then this next year, what was discussed was to have an evaluation that, you know, your raise is based on your evaluation, but we haven't, we're working on that too.
Okay.
It's just we keep getting curveballs.
Well, can't really help. We just found a really good picture.
Right, apparently.
I guess, pretty good pitches.
I just like to ask you all to think about this till we meet on Tuesday. Maybe Mr. Bill can have a great idea for us,
Thinking the same thing,
maybe.
cause you got more experience than any of us put together.
I mean, the only thing that would get us out of this is getting people in here, creating jobs, you know, selling utilities. That's the only thing.
That's what I said earlier, expand our utilities. Try to find what, you know, grants, whatever we can find to do extra long, whatever, to get our utilities pushed out further.
That is what the TCA working on.
I
Part of
want,
it.
I want to know what it is that we're going to do other than saying we're going to charge you.
And a whole lot.
I don't know what everything that we can do.
We had a $14 million budget, $200 million problem.
What do you,
You got to do something.
say, Shirley, what do you want us to do?
I don't know.
Well, I don't think it falls on the city to solve all the problems.
It's,
The county and the task force they've got working are doing all they can to help offset what has happened. And we will do our little part, what we can. But it's not up to us to solve the problem. The city
We can,
is not a benevolent organization. What?
never has been.
Well, yeah, in the past, sometimes we have, but it is not a benevolent organization. It is a service provider. If you provide a service, people pay for it. In order to provide a service, you got to hire employees, equipment,
We know
and
that,
maintenance, and all of this, and it takes money.
qualified people,
What?
qualified people.
Yeah, yeah.
They
And
don't,
you got to pay them a sustainable, a living.
sure.
But our organization is not a benevolent organization. That's not our task. That's not our job. Our job is to provide service, good service, on-time service. And I agree, more employees would help doing that. We could get the trash picked up quicker. We could get, the streets, potholes filled in, whatever needed to be.
if we don't keep the people in this county using our services, we're gonna be in a bad shape.
Well, that's right, but
So
we can't
this is
stop
the
them from
reason,
leaving.
this is the reason why we need to do what we can to people. And I'm sold that we need to do something.
What's your idea?
What incentives is one of them?
Well, we
John
talked about
Benita's
that.
on the board.
Incentives, you mean as far as gas, water, and sewer?
And
for me?
no raises.
Oh, yeah, yeah, definitely.
We've always done
Well, we
that.
always have.
Bring them
so
on and we'll deal with it.
That's nothing,
exactly right.
that's negotiated on each case, isn't it? Yep, I mean,
And
y'all-
I think-
y'all
I
done
think-
always-
I also think that we should meet with the county. We're in this together and who knows what
You don't want a joint meeting.
a
between
joint
people.
meeting.
Boards.
Yes,
I'm for it if you wanna do it.
Yeah.
Like I said,
we've done it past.
I've been at both of their meetings, so I don't mind going to a meeting.
At any rate,
But having another one.
I
think
haven't
two-
said it yet, but,
I think it's twice weekly.
oh, okay. I haven't
But now-
heard the next one was. I didn't stay for the whole thing.
It's interesting. Yeah. Well, if there's nothing else, hopefully by Tuesday we might think of something else we can do. And we don't need to vote on the 3%.
And the
We can do, we could change, we can change it to the state.
Well, they just gonna be there advertising these days.
Yes.
Gotta pass something.
Yeah, we got to do that. There's no other discussions. Meeting is adjourned. What do you say? What did it say? I didn't get that.
Well, they just, they're not super.
That's right.
Oh, they don't have utilities.
Terrible when you go back at the sidewalk.